Welcome back to my channel. My name is Vormithrax, and this is episode 5 of our Let's Play for Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. And in this one we're going to continue moving forward. Little less explanation. I'm just going to keep doing things as like the last episode, playing the game and explaining as I go along. I'm still spending a little more time explaining things that are new that come up, because I do intend this to be kind of an intro tutorial for new players to Cataclysm, and I still want to give enough detail that they are not lost when they run into certain things in the game, so they can get the maximum enjoyment out of it. Can be a frustrating experience. You die a lot as you start playing initially until you learn a bit about how the world works, so hopefully these videos will ease people in and keep them playing through the hard times, as there is a ton to enjoy about the game. It can be very, very challenging, and I really enjoy it because you can actually set your own level of difficulty in many, many ways. So here we go. When we finished the last one, we had just come back from a brief foray over to the forest to grab some minor raw materials and food items. You'll notice up here we've got in yellow, hungry and thirsty. They're not in a critical mode yet, so I'm not going to worry about them for the moment. I think to liven up the series, though, I am going to go ahead and make my way over towards the town. It's during the daylight, so this could be dangerous, and hopefully we don't get killed. So let's get moving. Alright, well, it put me in safe mode again, and it spotted the rat, so we're going to turn that mode off. I know that it's going to be somewhat dangerous, but I'm paying close attention. Let's bring the map up and plan how we're going to do this. So typically, you want to find initially houses on the outer edges of the town, as isolated as possible, because that's going to minimize your chances of groups of zombies coming after you. The worst thing you can do is just start running straight into the middle of the town, like the fire department. I really want to go check out the fire station. Firemen and the equipment in the fire station can be extremely valuable early on, but I'm not going to run straight through the middle of town to get to it, because that would alert and drag in a whole bunch of zombies. You got to kind of clear and make your way towards your objective. Think about it as a survivor in that situation, and you'll come up with various strategies. Some common ones that I've seen people use, especially during daytime hours, is to pick a building they've already looted on the outskirts and set it on fire. Makes a huge amount of noise as it burns to the ground, attracts a lot of zombies from the nearby locations. While it's burning, you can then hightail it to the far side of town and do some looting. So you can use distractions, you can kill and clear your way in, you can do a lot of different things depending on your abilities, your gear and equipment, and your knowledge of the game. So actually try to think of how you would deal with something if it were really happening to you, and what you would want to be careful of, and you'll find that the game probably has a way of modeling that or allowing you to take advantage of that strategy. So what we're going to do is try to stick to... I've got really two choices in my mind. Either come south and then cut into the east towards these houses, or go north and skirt around the power substation to these houses that are at the end of this somewhat isolated block. I would love to come all the way around to like here and then move into this house, because it's somewhat isolated, but I worry about the power substation. There are some monsters in there that have some dangerous abilities, and if we run into them early, I'm not sure I'd be able to deal with them effectively. So I think what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and head south, then try to cut into the east and see if we can get into one of these houses quietly enough that we can search it for some good starter gear without attracting too much attention. If things go bad, I'm probably going to have to make a run for it, and depending on what's chasing us, I'm going to use these woods back here as a fallback. Once you get in among the trees and you can break line of sight, that's one way of losing zombies, is to break the line of sight, so get around the corner of a building or into the trees and try to get out of their line of sight so they can stop tracking you. Alright, so let's go ahead and do it. We're going to move south first. Again, I'm watching the right side of the screen for updates to any enemies in sight, and also the mini-map. So I'm going to move fairly rapidly. Not going to worry about the rats or the dogs for now. I keep moving, check my map, see how far south I am. We're going to start angling in diagonally here. The wind is making your hand cold again. Alright, that's not unexpected. Keep moving our way forward. Nothing. Oh, okay. 2 spaces ago, this changed all of a sudden. I now have zombies in my sight, so I've got to pay close attention and be very careful. So zombie child, a hazmat zombie, and a tough zombie are now in sight. So if I bring the map up, I've gotten pretty close to the town, so close the map. We're going to hit Shift Z, or Shift V for Victor, sorry. And we'll get a black rat way up to our northwest. Cat, a raccoon, a squirrel, and then the zombies. 53 to my northeast, so he's up near that building way up north. So is that one, and the hazmat zombie. So the tough zombie's the furthest away. That's good news. We don't want to deal with him if we can avoid it. Oh, well, that's entertaining. Something I'd like to point out on the mini-map. Here, 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 and here are signposts. What this designates is everything within these 4 signposts is a minefield. See these little points here? Those are probably mines, but there are buried landmines in this location. So, unfortunately, if I walked into that area, I could blow myself up, depending on my perception and ability to spot the mines. But another danger is actually, if I'm moving down south of here and these zombies spot me and start coming towards me, they're going to walk right into the minefield and set the mines off. Great, you say, that'll kill the zombies. Well, yes, that has a great, or a really good opportunity to kill those zombies, but the noise from the landmines going off is going to attract more zombies. So I could get a herd of zombies from the town coming to investigate the noise that the landmines make. So that could be very bad. Let's go a little further south. Nothing is close enough to have spotted me, so I might have to change up my plan a bit. So there's those southern signposts for the minefield. So let's try to make it into this building here. So I'm going to keep going south. Let's check the list again. So nothing is close enough to see me. Alright, I don't want to go further south than this wall, because I don't want anything over here to spot me. I'm going to keep moving in towards the building. And great, we're looking good so far. You can see on the mini-map the sight lines that I've got, and I'm not seeing any zombies along either of those areas, so we're looking good. My hope is I can get into this window, pry it open with the crowbar, and get inside without making a lot of noise. The game does model many factors in regards to detection. So you've got noise, which landmines, like I said, make huge noises and attract zombies from far away. Breaking windows will attract things, so noise propagates out from its point of origin, a certain range, and anything within that range might hear it and come to investigate. Smell is another thing. Mostly animals and wildlife are using that sense, but some not dead monsters will use that as well. Sight is an important one, so all things you have to kind of keep in mind as you make your plans. Let's zoom the screen in here. Alright, so we have made it to the window. I don't see any monsters or items around me, so that's great. Let's check our map to get oriented. So we're at this southern house in the grouping, so that's actually pretty good. Nothing immediately around it. The closest thing is going to be this furniture store, which is not usually very useful. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. And what I'm going to do is, if I examine the window, it will automatically attempt to use tools within your inventory when you perform certain actions. So by examining the window, the game knew that I had a crowbar in my inventory, and it used it to pry open the window. So you pry open the window, from the east you hear a crunch. That's the noise the crowbar made as I crowbarred that window open. Hopefully it wasn't loud enough to attract anything. Now that the window's been pried open, I can step into that space and into the bathroom, apparently. So I'm going to leave the window pried open so that I have an opportunity to leave quickly if necessary. Okay, what do we got here? Multivitamins. So if you notice right on this part of the screen, when I point at it with the mouse, it says multivitamins. We're definitely going to pick that up. And let's go ahead and eat one. So what I'm doing is hitting Shift E, that's the eat or consume command. You can see it's now only listing items that are relevant to that command, so I can either drink some of my water, which will give me plus 50 to my quench, or I can eat a multivitamin. We're going to eat the multivitamin. Alright, next, what you see here is I moved next to the bathtub because sometimes there are items in the base of the bathtub and you have to step next to it to see it. The toilet has a plus, a green plus next to it. That usually indicates items in that location. What it's actually indicating is that there's water in the toilet, and that can be a source of water we can use. We do have swamps on the map right here as well. There's both fresh and salt water available in pools in the swamp, so worst case scenario, we can run down to the swamp. Hopefully there's nothing too dangerous in the woods on the way there. But in order to make that useful, we're going to need containers to hold the water in, which we really don't have much at the moment. You also have to worry about purifying the water. Always, always, always make sure you're drinking fresh water, unless you've got some kind of an ability or tech or something that's going to minimize the risks of tainted water. So we're going to leave that toilet alone. There's nothing useful we can do out of that at the moment. And we've got a door. We're going to examine it. It's just a closed door. Interior doors aren't usually locked, so if I move into it, it's just going to open. And as I sneak my way into the room, we can see a few things. Down here we've got some dog food and a pair of scissors. Looks like this is a kitchen. And we've got some open windows here. That could be a problem because now it's going to have a sight range down south. When you're exploring a house for the first time, you want to, whoa, we got a window open over here as well, giving sight lines out that direction, so got to be careful there. It's good to use the C key to close windows. I'm actually going to move around the house and get an idea of the layout before I start looting or breaking things down. Alright, so we can see out this window. Let's use the X key to move the cursor out so we can look along this sight line. I'm not seeing anything, which is good news. That there is a vehicle. And then that building way off that direction. So nothing to worry about so far. We're gonna close that window, close that one, and work our way north here. Close these. Alright, so now we can move around without worrying about attracting anything from the outside seeing us. And something odd. What is that? Newsboy cap. Don't care about the cap. Let's cut it up and get us a single felt patch. So that wall... Okay, we do have a door going up there. So, do we need the scissors? Let's take a look at them. So, scissors has level 1 cutting quality, and that's pretty much it. If we look at our knife, our pocket knife, that has butchering, cutting, and fine cutting. So the pocket knife is definitely superior to the scissors, so we don't really need the scissors. We're just going to leave them there. Dog food, we don't need dog food for the moment. Now notice what happens as I step next to these various cupboards and containers. That's a refrigerator, stove, and a cupboard. They don't look like they have anything until I step next to them. Then all of a sudden you can see symbols or icons for items as well as the green pluses. So, what do we got here? Well, let's hit Shift V and we can just see a list. So we got a sealed glass jar of pickled vegetables. That's actually a really good find. We can eat the vegetables and then we'll have the glass jar that we can use to contain other liquids. We've got a pot, which is great. That's for cooking. Got some more thread, a box of sugar, and then the dog food and scissors we already saw. So we can't carry much, so let's go ahead and take the sealed glass jar. We've got to, let's use the advanced inventory feature. So we do that. It remembers your previous settings, so it's got A, meaning all items adjacent to me, selected, so it's showing me all of these items. If I move to here and I press I to my personal inventory, then move the screen back again, I'm going to take the thread, the jar, and the pot. I don't have enough space, or enough volume, more specifically. Let's leave the pot alone for the moment then. And the reason I want the pot, here, it's a very important early cooking item, so it's watertight, can store 2 liters, has boiling quality, meaning if I got the water out of the toilet, if I used the pot at a campfire or some kind of a fire making tool, I would be able to boil water and then store it in my glass jar. So it's got chemical making, containing, and food cooking quality. So very good early find, very important for a new survivor in the game world. So we're definitely not going to leave it here. We're just kind of limited in what we can carry at the moment. So I'm going to just remember that it's there and leave it for now. I don't need the cardboard box of sugar for the moment. It's a recipe item. You're going to need it for more detailed recipes you can craft later. But inventory-wise, nothing that I want to really get rid of in place of the pot for the moment, so we'll just remember that that's there and come back for it here in just a bit. So we open this door. First thing we see is a children's book. Not useful. We're going to leave it. And we got a bunch of windows to be worried about. Okay, no monsters, so let's move up and get these windows closed. Alright, so stairs down. Could be good, could be bad. There's a basement. There's a number of different types of basements in the game, and there are basements that I hope for and basements that I don't want. So I'm actually just relocating these briefs. We're going to drop them right here with the blankets. So briefs and a blanket. Those can be useful. We can cut them up for materials, wear them if necessary. There's a few uses, but for now I'm just going to leave them right there. This is a potential temporary base we can use for exploring into the town, now that we know that this house is clear and it has a basement. If it's a useful basement, we might use it as a closer base than our camping base here, or our survival shelter here, for quick forays out into the town. We might move out, salvage a few buildings, run back and drop the materials off, and then when we're ready we pick and choose what we want to carry and haul it back to our survival shelter. Alright, so nothing in the room is useful. Let's go check out the basement. Alright, fingers crossed. So most basements will start this way, a couple of stairs and then 2 doors. And we're going to find out what kind of basement we got here in a moment. Ooh, I am really happy to see that. A leather backpack, that is awesome. Alright, this looks like a utility or dad's workshop basement. So there might be a monster in here. I'm going to tap the 5 key a few times. This just lets turns pass. I don't see or hear anything, so hopefully it's empty. That's already an awesome find, so we're going to move straight to that. Examine it. That's a leather backpack. You can see here it's got a volume of 2, 1.8 pounds. It's a torso item. It's considered on the layer strap, and I'll explain layering of the clothing and such here in just a bit. Coverage and warmth, but the important part is right here. It provides 10 liters of storage space, so that's awesome. That's what I wanted. So we're definitely going to pick that up. Now notice it says volume is going over our limit, but what it's going to do is once I try to pick it up, it'll ask us if we want to wear it. So I say yes, and instead of disposing of the nice beer and wielding the backpack as a weapon, we're going to say go ahead and wear the backpack. You can see, maybe you can see little straps here showing that I'm wearing the backpack. If I go to my inventory now, take a look, it's actually gone from 4 point something to 18 point something. I believe with some items you can get more usefulness out of them than the stated numbers sometimes. I'm a little fuzzy on the rules for the storage, but I've noticed that it's not just a flat 10 sometimes. If it says it goes up 10, I've seen it going up 14. However, that increased my volume quite a bit. Now we'll have no problem picking that pot up, so that's an awesome early find. Definitely something you hope for and look for. So let's kind of look around the basement. I'm just going to work my way around in a kind of a circular pattern here. And again, I have to step next to these lockers in order to see inside them. Alright, a lighter with 9 charges. That's great. What do we got here? Matchbook, so we're getting lots of fire making capability. Another matchbook. Alright, a couple of bookshelves. This book is a comic book, not useful for the moment, and a spy novel, not something we were looking for. What do we got? A glass cup and a spray can? No, and there's a few alternate uses. You can make the spray can, as it notes here, you could use it to craft a spray can flamethrower, but I'm not going to try that for now. I'm going to leave that here. Work our way around. Samurai novel's not going to be useful. Oh, what do we got here? A charcoal smoker. Hot diggity. Another awesome thing to find early on. So as it notes in the description here, this is a portable charcoal smoker, good for weekend barbecuing and preserving meat with smoke. So food preservation is an incredibly important thing you have to learn in the game. You're in hunter-gatherer mode when you start playing the game, and it's very important that you actually learn to preserve the meat that you hunt and butcher. Everything that's food related that is not sealed or preserved in some way will rot. So it has limited time that it has usefulness, and you don't want to be eating rotten food or allow it to spoil. So a smoker is very important. We'll just have to get some charcoal generated, and there's a way to do that you'll see soonish in the episode. So I'll get the ability to make charcoal and show you how that works. But this is an awesome find. So let's see here. Stat-wise, it's got a pretty high volume and weight, so I might consider leaving it here and doing a run to come back for it, because I'm not going to be able to use it here immediately. So let's finish looking around the basement. We got some marbles. Let's go ahead and take the marbles. Don't weigh a lot, and they're great ammunition for a slingshot. Don't need a withered plant. Nothing there. Alright, a pair of socks that fits. As I mentioned, fitted items are much better than non-fitted. We'll check our... don't need a heavy stick. We'll check our clothing and the layering here in just a bit. So it looks like the only thing I really need to remember or come back for is going to be the charcoal smoker. We've got the room to carry it volume-wise with the backpack, so let's go ahead and do that. But good news is we got a backpack, charcoal smoker, and a safe basement area that we might be able to use as a temporary base. So it could be... I use the map here to go back up. We could use it as a more centrally located base to do some exploration. We haven't really set up anything in our survival shelter, so I'm debating using this instead as our base of operations. It's also closer to the swamp if I need to go down and grab raw materials or things there. I don't know how dangerous the cathedral is going to be to move around in. We'll hold off on making a final decision there for now. So let's... how are we doing on weight? 9 out of 18. Let's go back up, grab that pot. Nothing in here to worry about. Line of sight's not a problem. That's the bathroom we came in. Alright, so let's do a few things actually. So we grabbed our pot. Alright, things seem to be fairly clear in the area here, so I'm going to smash up some things. We're going to make some noise, but it's in the hope of getting some raw materials that I believe we're going to need. So I'm going to wield my crowbar, store that in inventory, and we're going to smash up the stove and smash up the refrigerator. Alright, and the reason we're doing this is for the raw materials. So by smashing the stove, you can see we get a pilot light, some copper wire, metal sheets, heating elements, chunks of steel, and scrap metal. All very, very useful items that are used in creating some pretty critical things early on. And then the refrigerator, a common thing or common reason Cataclysm players will smash a refrigerator is for that item in particular, a rubber hose. And rubber hose, the most useful thing with it is to siphon gas out of vehicles. So you'll see a lot of abandoned vehicles in the game. Some of them have some gas remaining in the tanks, and you can use a rubber hose to siphon the gas out of the tank into a portable container, which you can then haul over to your own vehicle that hopefully you got running and get it some gasoline. So let's do this. Let's open this window from earlier. We're pretty sure that it's safe. Only a squirrel out that direction. That gives us light to craft by. I'm going to hit Shift 7, and we're going to move through these categories here. And I just want you to pay attention up here to see what's lit up. So that shows you what we can build with what's there. Alright, so the spike and the improvised lockpick are the only things showing up. So there's a particular reason that I wanted to get some of the sheet metal, and I'll go over that possibly in the next episode. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave this stuff here for the moment. We're burning daylight. Well, we've got some space. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and pick up the light things. That's getting us pretty close. Alright, that got us a pretty good supply. And we've got water from the toilet. How much water is there? So you'll see here it says what to do with the water, 24. So there's 24 units of water in the toilet, and then it'll be empty. So I'm just going to hit escape. You can either drink it right out of the toilet, you can pour it into a container, or you can pour it on the ground. So we're going to hit escape to do none of those things. I just wanted to check how much was available. So, let's do it. Let's make this our base. It's somewhat dangerous given the proximity to the town, but I think I'd rather do it. Let's go ahead and go down into the basement. Down into the basement. Alright, we've got a lot of raw material potential down here with the lockers and the different tables and such, so we can break things up if we need to. Actually, there is a downside. Decisions. Alright, I'm not going to do it. Sorry to be wishy-washy about it, but the thing that's a possible problem is light source. Down in the basement there's no light, so you can't craft unless you can generate light. And you could do that a few ways, but this early on we don't have a really good light generating capability short of lighting some kind of fire, which we can do, but I'm going to hold off on that for the moment. So I think what we'll do instead is take what we've gotten. We're going to move out. I'm going to bring the map up. Oops. I'm going to bring the map up. And for this building here, I'm actually going to create a note that just says utility basement. So when I put the cursor over there now up here, it says utility basement. And I'm also going to toggle the explored option. Alright. So the next question is, do we move up to the next house? We've got the hazmat zombie up there. Let's go ahead and do it. We haven't actually fought anything yet, so let's remember to not wield our crowbar for this. I'm actually going to wield the knife spear. Oops, grab the crowbar back up again. And I'm moving my way north. I recommend you not hug a wall when you're coming up to the edge of a wall, because if there is a zombie right here, for example, you're putting yourself in danger if you step up and you end up right next to a zombie. So I always try to skirt away from the wall a bit when I'm about to hit a corner. And you can see here and here we got some red dots. It's more zombies. If I hit this, we got the hazmat zombie up north. He hasn't spotted us yet. A decayed zombie. And a standard zombie. The standard zombie is pretty far away. That one might spot us. The hazmat we're getting closer to. But we just have to be careful and aware. And the tough zombie and the zombie child just appeared north of us as well. And we always have to remember that we've got that minefield right here as well. So that hazmat zombie is right there. So he's actually in the minefield. So, let's do this. I'm going to work my way diagonally up, draw those zombies into the minefield, and there we go. Hopefully that wasn't too loud, but that's one dead hazmat zombie. He stepped on a mine. So over here you can see hazmat zombie triggers a landmine. The zombie dies. From the north you hear a huge explosion. The huge explosion part is what I'm worried about. So now I'm going to move diagonally down and to the west. And I'm watching the mini-map. I can already see these guys coming directly towards me. And I think he is also. Yep, so they're all coming towards the sound of the noise, the explosion. So that has made things more dangerous for us. If we hit Shift V, none of them have spotted us. So they're just moving towards the noise. That's actually probably a good thing as long as I don't get spotted. So, because it could keep eliminating a bunch of zombies, so I don't have to fight them. So I'm actually going to move directly away from that spot. Hopefully I stay far enough away that nothing spots me. Oops, it looks like something might have. Nope, still good. So those zombies are going to kind of wander around in the minefield there. The tough zombie's the one I want to be careful of. Hopefully he gets a landmine. I don't want to give the impression that every space in this is filled with landmines. It's not. They can be pretty scattered around, so it's pretty hit or miss whether something's going to wander into one. But if you're just wandering around a map and all of a sudden you get a message about a huge explosion nearby, that's usually what's happening, is something has wandered into a minefield. Alright, let's... kind of playing with danger here. That tough zombie worries me, but... let's do it. I'm going to get his attention. Still not close enough. Let's move up. They're almost dead center in the middle of that. What I'm looking for when I'm opening this screen is an exclamation point. That's going to indicate that they've spotted me. There we go. I think he spotted me, or he just got lucky and he randomly stepped on it. We're just going to stand in place for a short bit. See what kind of movement we get. There's another dead one. The only downside is I'm not willing at my current health, item, and perception levels to walk into that minefield to gather up the materials these guys are dropping. For example, when I point here, you'll notice right here on this part of the screen it shows a jumpsuit, pair of rubber boots, undershirt, boxer briefs, and so on. He's got a wrapped radiation badge. That can be pretty valuable, but because he's a hazmat zombie, he's got a high chance of dropping that, but not anything critical in there I'd worry about. The only downside is they're eventually going to get up again if I don't get in there and pulp or get rid of those corpses. Ooh, a backpack. Oh. You can wear multiple backpacks. It really heavily encumbers your torso. As long as you're aware of that and you're only using certain weapons or range type weapons, then you can get away with it. Otherwise, you encumber yourself so much it makes hand-to-hand combat really difficult. I don't see any more zombies. We've got 2 on the screen, so it might be that the explosions aren't making enough noise to pull additional zombies in from the town, so I'm going to let some time pass. Oh, I think they've spotted me. Yep, Decayed Zombie has spotted me, so we've got a zombie coming to get us. He's in the minefield still. I'm going to back up a little bit. Zombie Child, I think, is still just moving towards the last source of the noise, which is these bodies, so... Alright, I'm going to stay right here. Okay. I'm zooming in so you can get a little better sight of what's going on, and tactically I've made a decision. I'm actually hiding behind a bush. Now, by that I don't mean I'm expecting the bush to hide me visibly, but where you're standing in combat can be very important. For example, standing in a doorway would prevent a number of monsters from being able to surround you, and you can fight 1 at a time, or 3 at a time if they all stack up next to each other. So you want to position yourself to give yourself any kind of tactical advantage you can. If the zombie approaches and steps onto the bush, it's going to slow him down, because being on certain types of terrain increases the points that you need to spend to perform an action. So if I can lure him onto the bush itself, I'm going to be able to get additional attacks against him because he'll be slower. So hopefully, as he gets closer to me, he'll come on screen any second now. There he is. And I'm just pressing the 5 key over and over again to advance the turn time. So he's coming towards me. He's in a direct diagonal, which is good. Now, I have the knife spear, so I can make a reach attack. As soon as he hits the space here, I'm going to poke him back up. Hopefully he steps onto the bush, and I'll be able to poke him a couple of times before he can step off of it again. So that's my plan. Alright, so now that he's next to me, or within range of my knife spear, instead of moving towards him, which is a standard way of doing a melee attack, I'm going to hit the F key, which is the fire key. But because I've got this knife spear wielded, it knows I'm going to try to use it, and you'll see it's now got him selected. It shows over here his status. He's a decayed zombie. They're one of the weaker versions, so this is a good first fight for us to have. He is hostile. And the description: a once dead human corpse, its discolored swollen flesh is riddled with festering wounds and open sores. And we can move the cursor to target him. If we had multiple choices, we could move the cursor around to whichever one we wanted, but he's the one. All I have to do is press the enter key to actually try to attack him. And you can see what's happened. So, right here, you pierce the decayed zombie for 18 damage, critical. That's an awesome first hit, and when I point at him, Right here, it'll show his status, so it is moderately injured. That gives a good indication of his general strength. So I hit him for 18, he's basically half dead. So I'm going to back up a space before swinging again, because I at all costs want to avoid him getting within direct range and being able to swing at me and bite me. So I'm now going to hit F, press enter. I missed. I missed twice. Darn it. Now I'm going to back up immediately before he gets a chance to swing at me. And I'm actually going to back up again. And the reason for this is our actions are taking different amounts of time. So it's because of my stats and abilities and the weapon I'm wielding and his abilities and his combat type, it takes him different movement points than it does me, or action points to initiate an attack. And occasionally if you back up a couple of times and then swing, he won't even ever get an attack. I always want to maintain the range. Not good. So that's what I was trying to avoid. He stepped forward and got an attack on me. So the decayed zombie bites your torso. That is a very bad sign. What I'm going to do is check my character sheet. And on the character sheet, I'm looking right here. So I've got a bunch of red indicators. I'm in pain, I'm thirsty, I'm cold, I'm hot. I'm both cold and hot. That's always funny. I've got chilly hands, but hot feet. The pain is because I just took a hit. Up here you can see pain 2, and that has an effect. But here, the good news is he did not infect us. So we didn't get an infected wound or anything like that. So we got lucky in that regard. So I'm going to back up a couple of times. And here's the next thing I want to show you that's super important, especially for early players. Right now I'm in walking mode. I'm going to hit the apostrophe key, and you'll notice here it says you start running. So I'm now in running mode, so it's going to vastly increase my movement speed so I can get some more distance from this zombie. It's also going to start draining my stamina fairly quickly. It's very difficult to both sprint away and start swinging and trying to combat in hand-to-hand and maintain your stamina. It'll very quickly drain, then you won't be able to attack or run, in which case you're really, really messed up. So I'm just going to run a few spaces. I want to get at least one more space of distance. Right there's good. Now I'm going to try a different type of attack. So instead of waiting for him to get closer and poking him, I'm going to start using my throwing sticks. All I have to do is hit the T key to throw, pick what I want to throw, in this case the throwing stick, and then it automatically targets the nearest zombie, and here it shows an aiming option. I'm going to let a little bit of time pass. Actually, I don't think it'll do that for this particular item. So I'm just going to, it's based on how far away the zombie is and my skills. These indicating the to hit chances, the symbols. So it's not a great chance to hit. I'm not very good at throwing right now, but this will raise my skill and hopefully do a little damage without letting him get close. So I'm going to hit enter. Whoa, we actually got an awesome hit. So I threw the throwing stick at him. It hit him. Good hit. You hit the decayed zombie for 22 damage. Wonderful. If I point at him, it says he's severely injured. I'm actually going to get another point of distance away, and we're going to throw again. And we hit again. 13 points of damage that time, and he is nearly dead. Let's go ahead. I'm going to let him close, and I'm going to try to poke him with the knife spear again. Alright. Perfect. So you pierce the decayed zombie for 15, the decayed zombie dies. So we managed to kill our first zombie. Yay us! Now if we look at the body, you can see up here, decayed zombie, corpse, western boots, duster, sneakers, t-shirt, jeans, fits. Yes. I wish the duster fit. So some pretty good items in here, but also they've got the filthy status, meaning they're all mucked up with zombie excrement and blood and dirt and so on. You don't want to use these until you find some soap and a wooden washing board and some water source that you can use to clean the clothes, which turns them back into their standard condition. Once you do that, you can actually use the items and to their full effect. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to hit... let's butcher it instead of smashing it. So we'll get out of the inventory screen. I'm going to step on the body, hit B to butcher, tell it to butcher the decayed zombie. The reason I'm doing that is so that it has no chance of getting up again. Alternatively, I could hit S to smash and pick that space, and it would smash the zombie up to make sure it's thoroughly destroyed and has no chance to resurrect as well. And I've got some capacity to carry items. I can't pick up the duster, which I would really like to use because it's got some good protection as well as good pockets for volume. I think we're just going to leave the things here for now. We can't use the tainted meat or the tainted bone this early in the game. They have their uses later. And we're down south, so let's make another note real quick. So we'll do shift in, duster, and clothes. So just in case I want to remember to come back to get those, we know where it's at. I don't want to forget my throwing sticks, so we're going to grab each of those by using the examine in that direction option. Alright, and let's just finish the run back to our base. Oops, zoom out here so I don't get surprised by anything. And we'll pick up this rock while we're moving. Ooh, I almost forgot something. Hopefully you can hear the heavy panting breath sound. That's something I forgot. You can see our stamina is almost completely gone. That's because I turned on the run or sprint mode and I forgot to turn it off again. So I needed to go back to a walk. And then as we start moving, you'll notice if you watch here, our stamina will start to recover slowly. So you got to be very careful about that. One of the worst things you can do is run out of stamina and then run into a bunch of monsters. You won't be able to run away. You won't be able to swing your melee weapons very effectively. It puts you in a really serious bind if that happens. Alright, so we're back at the base. We'll zoom in a bit. And I think we're going to call the episode right here. We had a good first foray over into the town. Next episode, we're going to probably build a few things and make another trek over to the town, see if we can get into one more building. But for now, hope you enjoyed the episode and the actual gameplay we finally managed to get into. If you like the series, please give it a thumbs up and hopefully subscribe. Got lots of content planned to come. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.